logo out. Slow and steady wins the race. We'll save a little bit. Cheers. I'm a professional stunt driver and motorsport driver. I moved to the US at the age of 17. Mountain bike racing in New Zealand was my thing, and that's what brought me to the US. Probably about 2 years later, I got a passion for racing cars that was obviously installed in me from my father. 19 years old was my first motorsport race, and probably only about 4 months before that I actually got my license. My first car for the street was an '88 Toyota 4x4 pickup truck. It was a hand-me-down from my stepmother, so it was a metallic light blue with a pink and blue stripe that I buffed off the first day. My first race car was a 2.2 litre turbo Mazda MX-6, which I started rallying in. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. That was many moons ago. I think J-Rod actually gave me that nickname, amongst many others. And then he used to play like midnight oil music.
Would you rub me down? Would you rub me down in some burning hot oil, baby? Yeah!
Still scarred from that one. You know, I grew up in New Zealand. BMX racing, mountain biking was my thing with my grandfather. My dad moved to the US in late 70s to pursue his passion, motorsport.
Back at the starting line, there's the king of the mountain, Rhys Millen.
I finished what we call college, high school in New Zealand, and moved to the US to go to college and started working for him after school. Sat next to him when he was driving and learnt the skills of driving. And then as that turned into a profession, had an incredible team underneath me to support me in my driving efforts. In college, I went to Orange Coast College, did business courses, math courses, because I had to convert from the metric to the standard system. But basically, yeah, it was just all machining, welding, business courses. I wanted to build bike frames. I developed a talent for that, and my dad put me straight to work full-time in the race shop building many of his race cars. We used to have a round of the WRC World Rally Championship come to New Zealand. You know, back then it was the Group B rally car days. You had the Audi Short Quattro S1s, you had Peugeot, you had Lancia. And then alongside of that, you know, probably a great childhood memory would be Friday night, 6 p.m., Dukes of Hazzard comes on TV. Fast forward 2005, a film group come into the shop. We have a flat screen TV in the showroom playing drift footage, and they're like, who's driving the car? And I'm like, I was driving the car along with these other guys, and they're like, tomorrow we're having a rehearsal at the studio. Do you want to come out and try out? Went there, tried out for the position, and then they pull out the car and they go, this will be the car that one of you guys will be driving. And it was game on. There wasn't a stuntman in Hollywood that was going to beat me to that opportunity. It was awesome. For 2.5 months, I put on a blonde wig and I drove the General Lee.
Holy!
Oh yeah, doesn't get any better. A dream car that I actually got to drive as well was a Porsche Carrera GT for a really bad movie called Redline.
Oh no, that's too much stars! That's too much stars!
We do have a few projects that we're building at the shop. I can't quite talk about them, but you will see them in an upcoming movie that involves other planets. It'd probably be my dad. He's so good, he's so smooth, purely because he's probably still got a thing or two to show me. favorite feature film would have to be Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. You know, 4 or 5 cars at a time, tandem drifting. For commercials, it has to be the current campaign with Pennzoil. I think the bear's kicking him, a bit of a lightweight. Tokyo Drift, I doubled for Lucas Black, and then 4, 5, I doubled Paul Walker, and for 7, I doubled Paul Walker and Jason Statham. We did some fun scenes. They had, like when they did the car drop and the cars come out of the back of the plane. Should I drink some more? Let's drink some more. Pikes Peak, my first year was 1992, 19 years old, Rookie of the Year. I've raced it a few times, I guess you could say. I have around 12 class wins and hold three or 4 records there. We won in 2012 overall and set a new course record. We designed a 4-wheel drive electric car that had 7 electric motors, produced 1,750 foot-pounds of torque, 1,500 horsepower, and was 4-wheel drive. And we won outright with that and set an new overall record for electric vehicles. One of only 3 people to break the 9-minute barrier. Getting light, boys. I'm gonna need a top up here. It was during practice, it was 1997. I was running a Toyota Supra 2JZ, and just through this kink in the upper section, the car understeered, went straight off, luckily into the boulders on the inside, not off the cliff, hit, bounced, and then didn't roll, but the way that it spun into the rocks, it blew all 4 tires off it, actually debeaded 2 of them, and then bent the rims completely around the calipers and rotors. Is it me or is your shirt getting blurry? Oh, it is a blurry shirt, okay.
Yeah, it's the 3D effect.
It was 2008. We were a no-show at round 1, Long Beach. We blew 3 engines on the dyno. We pushed the car into the paddock, into our pit, to be on display and watched everyone gain points. We went into Road Atlanta round 2 with 0 points. The car would completely cut out when it got into boost and higher RPM. By freak, we got some information, or someone on the team had experienced this before, but it was a resistor-based spark plug versus a non-resistor spark plug. We changed the spark plugs, went out and qualified #1 and won that event. That set the tone for the year from coming back from 0 points. We went from basically dead last into round 2, going into the Red Bull Drifting World Championships and winning that event. So from a drifting aspect, 2008 definitely has to be a highlight. Formula drift, or drifting as a style of driving, will always have a soft spot. That commitment level to put that car inch perfect against the wall, hold your line and produce that perfect run, it's the highest level of driving I've ever done. For a sport, it's been at a level for the last 3 years that maybe something needs to change. I don't know what that is. A format change and maybe you got something new and unique, but regardless, it's awesome. You always had that guy that you were just, like, you either never got to run, or when you got to run, you wish you had the perfect run against him. Back when I was competing, it was Tanner or Samuel. If you were lined up against them, there was nothing left on the table. Stage rally. You get to the end of that stage and you're like, I hit every one of those corners as good as I can, carrying as much speed, braking as late as I could. Stage rallying is by far the most impactful time of my career as a style of driving, and something that I'm definitely still very passionate about. Favorite racetrack is not a racetrack. It's a toll road, Pikes Peak. Start line at 10,000 feet, finish line at 14,112 now. It's grown 2 feet in a couple of years. There's just something about that adventure that is only 12 miles long that just keeps you coming back. be passionate, go out and drive. Spend your money on tires and fuel. Gain experience, listen and learn to what the top guys are doing. There's so much to be gained by just watching, learning, and applying. It's getting out there and doing it at whatever level you can. You know, I really don't like beer, and this is actually a pretty damn good beer. I'm more like a margarita guy. Every commercial that I do lately is an automatic, and I really have to perform in those things, and it's a struggle, but a manual all day long. Sign me up for some manual gear shifting. It's all about the NA until you experience a turbo. When I was younger, in commercials, I would push myself pretty hard. There was many days that I would just roll commercial into commercial into commercial, and be up at 5 in the morning and be shooting till 8 that night, and then go into a night shoot and finish at 5 in the morning and roll straight into another day, and probably do 3 days in a row without an ounce of sleep. Those are maybe the toughest days outright, where you're mentally and physically just exhausted. Hannu Mikkola. Rally 1986, New Zealand. I'm about lower than this bench here, table. Walking into a room, all of the top drivers, and I think I asked my dad for a pen to go get an autograph from Hannu Mikkola, and he signed the back of my plate that I ate my dinner off. I kept that for a number of years. I think it's time to drink again. Mountain biking. Getting out on the trail, getting out in nature, bombing down trails as hard as I did when I was in my teens. Something I love doing is getting out on the bike. My daughter is 7. We just started mountain biking together about 6 months ago. Her aggressiveness to be competitive is there, but in her nature, she's very calculated. It has to be on her terms and her time. I would love to see them compete, but realistically, it has to be on their own terms. I don't know, I don't own a Hurricane, so does that make him a better driver than me? Sam is an incredibly talented driver. He's Swedish, so he's got a little dick. But he's a good driver. That might be the beer talking. Sorry, Sam. You're awesome. For the last probably 3 or 4 years, I've actually tried to transition as a driver into a team owner and educate and pay forward everything that I learned and see a younger generation kick ass. I'm Rhys Millen. Have fun, y'all.